Who holds that person liable enough that you could be? Who holds that person liable enough that you could be? Meant for the rich environment, the sent to be. Selfish as the fisherman, but the dish out to that continent puts earnest to the discernment. Tour for the opening shot for the shock with an abandonment. Abandon acid, that's a ban for the sense to abolish. Your apprehension that was lent to you like a Jew on a holiday with the Hebrew. That chair to bread, that yeast to the toast to him for the share for the daily bread for the polish, that emblem and the embedded for the embellishment. It was only meant for him for the palms, or psalms and hymns, those deliver the harmony that want to harm. Carry the cross staff for the nobody on the spirit wanted to carry him across the crosshairs and torture like the tortoise. Here the stairs to bear the rare stakes, the stake out the care to bear. Father that couldn't pay the price according to the county to fair players. Prayers and bared the crosshairs. Naysayers that lay died next to him for the adolescent, for the smell, the scent for the fragile. Fermentation for the aggregated. Agitated for the fruits of labor, for the grew they hate upon him, for the must lead that, for the pencil, for the councilman, for the countryman, and don't despise those who's and hire that, for the contraband that denied the fuse. Refuse the energy, for to refuse him to gather the coordination that cordially died. That numerology who could remember the addition that was the holy man for this use, the seen unseen for the hologram. Holygram line and need for the polygram. Waited for him instead of just standing next to him for the pillages of the Asian man. Pilgrims and Instagrams and sundown for the phonographs of a man, for the contraception, the contraction of sheep. Shepherds to Mary who had a little lamb, but everywhere they married she wept. Step of the born again shepherd. She departed for the embarking of the tree like a son to the aboriginal, for the Abraham ham, nick that saints to the fame, for the who's the lost to Jerusalem, salam. Interior motives for to make that motivated for the inside the Bethlehem, for the synonymous synonyms of the tree, for the life of the acronyms. Embody that son of the sons and abbreviated for the alleviation of allegations. Give it to him, not to know and not for the Noah's Ark, who's crucible enough for the crumble before him. Myth, lead, aftermath for these Trader Joe's and Trader Joe's and dreaded the Negroes with an attitude like Dr. Dre's aftermath. The additional contrast, labels of fables and periods of sentences and signs of those syllables and canes and gables. The ability to remain stable, steeples and view sight from the eyes of teachers or pupils. Not hiding behind those pulpits in the church. Holy church taught for the fruit for the tormented jungle Jews, and that was fermented holy folly. Hallucinated to supernatural experiences that expired before them 12 tribes of Judah. Conspiracies. The lines between believing that for the blending the bit of big man for the only the sun for the big him up. Green giants that for the rest of him seas for the forests and the mountain men. Amen and omens. Forefathers that forgave them. Forgotten kings that got the GOT acronyms, the Game of Thrones and the stagnant that dragons them fire for the look of the higher them again. Spirit inspired retirement, mental enslaved environment, the invitations to track back. Invited in the postal stamps and that the yell at the crowds that behold for the pale Caucasians, behold the pale poor horsemen. Walk the course and track that playing horsing around for the earth like Martians. Immortalized baptism, but John the Baptist understood the choral circumstances when watered by the fishy tails of the wings in the fairyland by the flyby of the NASA. Forgave the government for the Helios and helicopters to hover him, and the gangbang for the origin of the beings of humans from the ground for the capitalist punishment meant to that to serve the justice, not deportation. Minorities that iced it enslavement. Meant to reinforce the enforcement, return to the Jedi and blind them to teach the peachy photos to the teachers and preach those to demons and templates and pray to them temples and maybe the owner the convent. Contemplate the full fulfillment and maybe the embellishment of the selfish and emblems of refugees and dumb and wise and eyes and wisdoms and conundrums and beat those who won those of victories and victimize those idols and idiots and idolize the wisdom. Withstand assault, idolize at the table of elements and the desensitize the pineal glands and the confusing the confidence. Security, I'm insecure. Men sentence superiors in each paragraph to show them the record of the woman's behavior. And maybe the oppression press him to the wrinkle of the iron and sleep in the rap. Rip Van Winkle's the gestures that impress the highness, liking and liking. And the Instagram and instantly instituted for the them the bars to be the grip the hands of generation to generate. The gentrifying to define the outcomes and coming inside of the impregnated the nations and futures of generations. Generally routing the owner the raptors to the reptilians and tail the sword. The owner the cultivated their needed that permanently emotive manipulated for the mandating for the Gregorian calendars of Marie. Americans pied for the polygraph test. We studied the Mandela mandates and manipulation to cry the cutest of orange and cutters of flags and flagrant. Raining chants and enhancing hangman with the letters of questioning marks asylum. Hey now, who's the hallucinations and sadness and horny Elohim? It was those comments of man bystand. The by woman that walks sidewalks. See men in grave sites and see how womanites and wombs to labor for hollow hearts and holidays and Eve's garden of fruit. Trick sensations of eating reasons and treasons and seasons. slept. Others slept. Dreaming of wealth while they debate for the debate. The debt, rebuttal for they rebate. God is a fish by human bait. Decimal to decide the fate for the bait, rather than suitor for the lunar for whom one waited. For the gates are gated. Agitated, reanimated for the re-announced. Smaller as anticipated for the recorder. The citadel for the citation provided. Pronunciations anticipated for the fate was jaded enough for the elements can be will be graduated, debated for the deputized. Deputy deported, evaluated for the patients as waiters from whom awaited and infatuated the white flats. High rises been deflated, defeated, not grounded, profound, and declared an MC with no announcements. Couldn't say a word like Christ, like these pronouncements meant to eat the mint, like the rich environment that was sent to be the selfish. As a fisherman was not to dish out the continent. What earnest the discernment to the Torah was left for to be shocked by the shock or the abandonment for the abandoned as a band, sent to abolishing the apprehension that was lent to them, like a Jew on a holiday. That Hebrew that was cheered to bread the yeast to toast to him, to share the daily bread, to polish what emblem, what embedded for the embellishment. It was meant for him. Palms to hymns. They went out harming him, carried him to the cross, but nobody in spirit that would carry him to the crosshairs. Like torture or tortoise to hair, to stare to bear, the rare stakes to stake out, the care to bear. Folly they couldn't pay the price according to the accounting to the fair prayers. Bare to crosshairs and naysayers. That lied next to him, to the adolescent of the smell descended for him, the fragile fermentation for the agitated, for the fruits of labor that grew the hate upon him. Must lead that, led in the pencil to the councilman. The countryman despised that, but who's higher than the contraband that denied, refused the energy to refuse? Who's that to gather that? Coordination who those cordially died, the numerology they couldn't remember the edition that was the holy man. Unseen like hologram. Lying in the need of polygams. Waited on him instead of standing next to him like pillars of age and band pilgrims who Instagram the sundial the phonographs. The man without contraception. Contraction, the sheep shepherds to the Mary that had a little lamb, and everywhere Mary went she wept and slept with the born again shepherd for the departed for the embarked tree of life. Sons of the aboriginal Abraham. Nick the saints of the fame for those who lost Jerusalem. Salam, the interior motives that are motivated for the inside of the Bethlehem to the synonymous sinners. Synonyms, trees of those of life and acronyms. Invited the son of the man for the sons of abbreviated alleviation. The allegations they give them are not to know, not to know a lie, to lie to know of the art for the crucible crumbled to him before him. Mid-led. In the aftermath of that trail, the traders of Joseph. Trader Joe's and dreaded the Negroes with an attitude like Dr. Dre's in Aftermath. That addition, no contrast, and labels of fables of peers and sentences, and signs of the times and syllables in Cain and Abel, ability to remain steeples in view of sight for the teacher and the pupils and not hiding behind pulpits and holy church talk, and that fruit for the tormented jungle juice that was fermented folly. Hallucinate the supernatural experience that aspired before them like 12 tribes of Judah conspiracies. Who lied the lines between the believing and the belittling? The big man under the sun, that big up, and the green giants, and that for the rest of him, like the seeds of the Forbes and the mountain men, amen. Omens and forefathers, and forgave them, like begotten kings that got acronyms and Game of Thrones and staggered and dragons, and then fire for the look to hire the spirit, inspire the retirement. Mental enslaved environment for invitation that track back to the invited, the postal stamps, and that yell at the crowds, behold the pale Caucasian, to behold the pale horseman. Walk the course of track that playing horsing around the earth like Martians and immortalized by the baptism, but John the Baptist understood. The coral circumstanted the water, the fish, the tails of the wings of fairyland. Fly by the NASA and forgave that government. Helios helicopters that hover him. Game band the origin to begin of humans and ground the capitalist punishments and be meant to serve the justice and not deportation to minorities that iced it enslavement. Reinforce the enforcement and return to Jedi and blind them. Teach those preaching folders and teachers who preach them. Themes that template to praise the temple than them to only the comment that contemplate the fulfillment. Embellishing the selfish embers of the refugees that dumb and wise eyes wisdom. That conundrum, that beat, the one to win the victory, to victimize the items of the idiots to idolize.
Slept, dreaming of wealth while they debate for the debate. The debt, rebuttal for they rebate. God is a fish by human bait. Decimal to decide the fate for the bait, rather than suitor for the lunar for whom one waited. For the gates are gated. Agitated, reanimated for the re-announced. Smaller as anticipated for the recorder, the citadel for the citation provided. Pronunciations anticipated for the fate was jaded enough for the elements can be will be graduated, debated for the deputized. Deputy deported and evaluated for the patients as waiters and whom awaited and infatuated the white flats. High rises been deflated, defeated, not grounded, profound, and declared an MC with no announcements. Couldn't say a word like Christ, like these pronouncements meant to eat the mint, like the rich environment that was sent to be the selfish. As a fisherman, but not to dish out the continent. What earnest a discernment to the Torah was up for to be shocked by the chakra and abandonment for the abandoned as a band, sent to abolish the apprehension that was lent to them. Like a Jew on a holiday. That Hebrew that was cheered to bread, the yeast to toast to him, to share the daily bread, the polish, what emblem, what embedded for the embellishment. It was meant for him. Poems to hymns. They went out harring him, carried him to the cross with nobody in spirit that would carry him to the crosshairs. Like torture or tortoise to hair, to stare, to bear, the rare stakes to stake out, the care to bear. Folly that couldn't pay the price according to the counting to the fair prayers. Bear to crosshairs and naysayers. That lady lied next to him, to the adolescent, to the smell, the scent for the him, the fragile fermentation for the agitated, for the fruits of labor that grew the hate upon him. Must lead to me that led in the pencil to the council. The countryman despised that, higher than the contraband that denied, refused the energy to refuse. Who's that to gather that? Coordination who those cordially died, the numerology that couldn't remember the condition that was the holy man.
Were you in love with him?
Unseen like hologram. Lying in the need of polygrams. Waited on him instead of standing next to him like pillars of some age of man, pilgrims who grew Instagram, the sundial with phonographs. The man without contraception, contraction, the sheep shepherds to the Mary that had a little lamb, and everywhere Mary went, she wept and stepped in the born again shepherds with the departed for the embark into their life. Sons of the aboriginal Abraham, Nick the saints of the fame for those who lost Jerusalem, Salam, the interior motives that are motivated for the inside with that and synonymous sinners. Synonyms, trees of those of life and acronyms, invited the son of the man for the sons of abbreviated alleviation. The allegations they give them and not to know, not to know a lie, to that the knowers of the art, for the truth of the trumpet of him before them. It led. In the aftermath, that trail the traitors of Joseph. Trader Joseph dreaded the Negroes with an attitude like Dr. Dre's in aftermath. That addition of contrast enables the fables of peers and sentences, the signs of the times and syllables in Cain and Abel, ability to remain steeples and through a cipher. The teacher and their pupils are not hiding behind pulpits and holy church talk and that fruit for the tormented languages that was for men and fathers. Hallucinate the supernatural experience that expired before them like 12 tribes of Judah expelled. Whose lies the lions continue to believe in the delirium? The big man under the sun that big up with the green giants and the rest of him like the seeds of the birds in the mountain and Aaron. Oh, the forefathers who forgave them, like the God kings that got to think. To gain thrones and stagnating dragons and then fire for the look to hide the spirit, inspired to retirement. Mental and slave environment for invitation to track back to the invited, the posted steps and that yell at the crowds. Behold the pale Caucasian, behold the pale horseman. Walking towards the track that playing horses around the earth like Martians and immortalized by the baptism of John the Baptist understood. The chorus took the the water with fish to tell to the winds of fairyland. Fly by the lights of the big that government. Helios helicopters the hope. Game bang the